Oh, yeah. You'll never fail to chuckle. I always say it's never not funny. It's brilliant. Hello again, everybody. It's nice to have you around again. It's Sabrina and I having our chat, our little weekly chat. We've kind of got back into the swing, I think, after our summer break of trying to get here weekly. Managed to do it for the last 2 weeks now, so that's a bit of a run. We're on a streak, and we're going to talk a little bit. If you're over on WP Builds, then we've got a live page. It's just occurred to me I haven't set the comments up correctly, so when Sabrina introduces herself, I'll quickly nip over there, and you might actually need to refresh the page, because if you're using the YouTube comments, they're currently stuck on an old thread, so you'll be commenting on something which happened yesterday. But if you want to make a comment, head over to wpbuilds.com/live in a couple of minutes, and you can comment there, or go into the Facebook group or the Facebook page, which is no doubt where you're seeing this anyway, and you can do that. Somebody's saying hello. I don't know who you are, but you have to go to the what's it called, the thing at the top, the description, and yeah, you have to click the StreamYard link, and that allows StreamYard to access your name and so on. So you might wish to remain anonymous, in which case that's completely fine. And Heinrich, you're not supposed to be able to comment on this, Heinrich, unless you are actually on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, then that's different. But that's not supposed to work. That's weird. But I'm glad that you've made the comment. That's lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you, Sabrina?
I'm good, thank you. Now, when you said that we are trying to get into the schedule, and it's the second week in a row, I was thinking about attending a gym. It's a good practice to start to schedule our sessions and gym sessions together. So I will be sticking to both.
I was reading a book on habit forming, and they say that if you do something for 2 weeks, much more so than us meeting once a week, but let's say you eat a particular diet for 2 weeks, or you take exercise for 2 weeks, by the end of 14 days or so, you've kind of convinced yourself that this is now what you do. So we're doing it. We're on 14 days. We've cracked it. Actually, it's only 7. It's only 8 days, but there you go. So what we're going to talk about today, and Sabrina, do forgive me if very briefly I just am completely incommunicado, because I'm going to go and fix those comments, which will take me a couple of seconds.
Sure.
Do you want to just tell us what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, just to introduce ourselves and to tell what we are talking generally about here. Me and Nathan, we're trying to grow our plugins to some decent numbers, and we are sharing what we've learned and what we found out in the previous week and make plans for the future week. So in our previous episode last Tuesday, we were talking about a proper time to call yourself a founder, to call yourself CEO or fire starter, I don't know, for your plugin, even if it's small, if you're just starting out, if you don't have a team, what is the proper time to call yourself founder? And we didn't actually have any homework from the last week, but I created a page on Facebook for my plugin. I haven't done so on Twitter yet, but if you can see the note next to my name, it says now Sabrina Zeidan Speedguard.
Hey.
Right on the screen. Yeah, I did it for the first time today. I was thinking, we decided that it's never too early to call yourself a founder. So I add my plugin's name next to mine.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I don't think it's a problem to be associated with something. In fact, I think it's really beneficial. As an example, if you go to WordCamps and people are introducing you, they'll often do that, won't they? They'll say, "Hi, look, such and such meet such and such. This is Jonathan. Jonathan is the developer of such and such."
Yeah.
It's just part of it, right? And there's just nothing weird about that. In terms of the Facebook thing, so what have you set up? A Facebook page or a Facebook group?
Yeah, I set up a Facebook page. As far as I'm concerned, the group is something you have to be deeply involved in to make it a group,
Yeah.
So the Facebook page seems to be easier for me for now.
Yeah. One thing I would say, and I only have the experience of really the WP Builds group, is that, as you will know, Facebook has just the most traction imaginable. It's crazy, but also it does allow you to have that relationship with people, and they tend to drop by. So, as an example, Heinrich has been in the Facebook group many times, and I'm sure, although I can't remember the exact threads that we've been involved in, I'm sure we've overlapped and talked about things, and it does allow conversation to happen. The only problem is you've got to allow Facebook into your life a bit more, which is not necessarily a good thing. But it really, because everybody's on it, it is really good. So I would say, as a real benefit as a plugin owner from having a dedicated Facebook group where people can go. And if you don't have a support system, and you don't have a ticketing system, and you don't have a roadmap, it's just a really quick, simple way to achieve a lot of that. And it feels to me almost like that's the expectation now. If I buy a SaaS product or a plugin, I'm almost expecting there to be a dedicated Facebook group along with it. So that's just my 2 cents. I think it's worth it. The other thing to say is that people who like what you do will become members of that group, and they unexpectedly take on some of the things that you feel that you need to do yourself. Like, somebody might write a question, and then
that's
somebody
exactly what we're thinking, that I will have much more work to do, wouldn't I?
No. Well, maybe yes, but equally, you might find that some good people, and WP Builds Facebook group is just full of really good people.
That's true.
It's very rare that I get to answer questions first, because somebody else has usually put an answer in before me. And I didn't expect that to happen when I set the group up, but it's lovely that does happen. So it may be that the group will facilitate the answering of questions without the need for you. I mean, you could go in and fix up problems, or if somebody said something incorrectly, but people can tag you and they know you're there. So anyway, it's not an advert for Facebook. It's just, I think it's good. I think there's a bit of merit for that whilst Facebook lasts.
Yeah. I can see we have a question here.
So let's answer that quickly. Heinrich, would it be possible to add SpeedGuard to my website? Oh, great. I don't think we've had a question about the actual plugin before. This is nice. To my website, and my visitors can check their website for speed. Ooh.
You know what's interesting? That today we're going to talk about the pricing models for plugins. And I was thinking, like, in 1 or 2 episodes to talk about, like, features that you should, like, how do you decide on features that you should include into premium version when you already have a free version. So no, SpeedGuard won't let your visitors to check their website speed. But I've already had such question before, and it was one of my ideas to include into premium version. Should we discuss this in few episodes, like how do you decide on features? Because almost every idea that I have about SpeedGuard and what to do next is coming from someone messaging me and telling me what they would like to see there.
I think though, lovely that Heinrich's so you said a minute ago somebody's asked you that question before, and the fact that Heinrich's said it, maybe it's the second or the third time that you've heard it. I guess hearing the same question over and over again makes you think, well, that now is something that needs to be added, whether that's the free version or whether it's the paid version. And it's almost like unsolicited advice about what you need to be doing, because Heinrich's clearly interested. He's showing up to listen to this, and he's obviously asking questions specifically about it. Seems like that's a really good idea. We've been putting things on a roadmap, but I think a roadmap is more difficult to achieve because people have got to go log in, create an account, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Heinrich's just right there asking a question. So yeah. Would you just out of interest, do you? And this, I suppose, is directed as much to Heinrich as it is to you, Sabrina. Do you find that people, like, for example, my clients, I don't think I've ever had a question from a client asking about the speed of their own website. They've asked questions when it's really slow,
Yeah.
What's the matter? And then I can go in and say, well, hang on a minute, I'll just fiddle a bit. But I've never had questions about specifically how quick is it. But that's interesting. If you can provide that information to them, you've suddenly made yourself more valuable, haven't you? You can prove that you're doing something right.
Yeah, I was thinking, actually, as we're already into this, actually it was like my thinking. For example, when you do a website for the client, right, you can charge more or like add more value to what you are doing if after what you've done, you made a site speed test, and you test not only homepage, you test like important pages of the website, just like I do for in my audit when I do a performance audit for clients. I check homepage, I check important pages like landing pages, product pages, category pages. So I was thinking maybe for developers who make websites for clients, it can be valuable to make this like full site speed test and provide the results to the clients to show them that it's not only looks beautiful, it also loads fast, and it's good,
Yeah.
It's good for SEO, it's good for conversions, it's good for everything, for user experience.
I think there's so many ways that it could be really useful to put that information in front of people. I mean, there is a slight caveat to this in that if your website is really slow and SpeedGuard demonstrates that it's really slow, that could be bad. But the upside of that is, but the upside of that is that you could potentially sell services onto them in order to speed it up. Okay, we know that you're on affordable hosting, but there are a couple of things that we can do. Would you like to explore this, and so on? But also, it might be a time to
like upsell with those results.
But I was just going to say, it also might be time to demonstrate that, look, that affordable hosting is affordable for a reason. Now let's just take it up a level. If we can just stretch the budget a bit on the hosting, not only will it be more reliable, all the laundry list of things that good hosting does, but you've got a bit of ammunition to get them into care plans and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. I just very nicely for you, Sabrina, Heinrich has said he'll happily.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Isn't that nice? That's lovely.
Yeah, that's
and Cameron has said it's nice to have us back. Hi, Cameron. That's really nice as well. I think we should stick with the comments because it's really nice whilst they come in. The countless websites that promise speed improvements in website speed, but their own websites fall short of that. And with features like SpeedGuard, you add value and trust. Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think just yesterday or a few days ago, I saw on one of the Facebook groups about speed optimization, the post about very famous blogger who blogs a lot about SEO and about a little bit about making your website fast. And his own blog is not slow, but not impressively fast,
Ah, oh dear.
Yeah. And someone was making a point that when you already have that much traffic and visitors on your website, speed is like, if he would make his website a little bit faster, it won't change anything. So why bothering? And I totally agree with this. Like there is a point when you should pay a lot of attention to your speed, right? Once it's fine, there are a lot of other things to worry about, and you only want to make sure you're not getting too slow. You don't want to be the fastest website in the world. You just want to be fast enough so you will have nice conversions and nice search engine results.
Do you know, just out of interest, if you were to bring and I forgive me for asking this question because I know that you don't have the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway what your thoughts are generally. If I was to bring let's say a site which has a couple of years of fresh content in it, somebody's regularly posting on that website and it's been updated regularly, new content and so on. In terms of SEO, they've put in a reasonable amount of effort. All of the things that you should do to get your blog post to be recognized on search engines have been done. In other words, from the creation of the content point of view, it's good. It's got good heritage and the quality of the content is right there. But it's on crappy hosting. Do you know what the impact on the search is? I mean, is it significant? Because you've just said it, you don't need it to be the fastest website in the world, but is there a material benefit? Have, for example, you taken websites and then just done your stuff on them, and then slowly over time, weeks, months, I don't know, you've noticed an improvement simply by doing the things that your speed guard does?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what, bad hosting or slow hosting, it's not like the only thing. The site itself can be not really slow. For example, there are no heavy images, no media, no JavaScript, and even on tiniest hosting plan, it might be absolutely all right. What I know for sure that you can be on the fastest hosting ever, but for example, if you have some settings that if your website keeps crashing, it's much worse when there are a lot of connections to a database, and there are sometimes the situations when your website is really fast, but then it crashes, like it's CPU overload or something else, it's memory limit is reached or something. So sometimes it's server-side problem. So when your website is crashing, it's much worse for SEO than when it's just constantly not fast.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was a complete aside. So let's dig into what you wanted to get into today. Do you want to just kick us off with the subject matter at hand?
Yeah, I was just, if you don't mind me, I was just hoping to add a few things. We were talking last time about calling yourself a founder, and
okay, yeah.
Like as early as possible, because you have all the benefits of it. And what we didn't mention last time, and what occurred to me, that one of the benefits of calling yourself a founder early is that all those books about personal touch and how to make your customers feel like they know you and stuff, like all these pop psychology marketing books. So when you're the team of one, when you're just starting out, you don't need any books and you don't need to implement any strategy to really be personal, It's just the way it is. And some people tend to pretend that they have a team, that they have like a story behind their brand and stuff. And I was thinking, it's kind of like missing all the fun. It's like missing the teenage age and pretending that you are so grown up, you are so adult, you are so serious, while you are not. And there won't be any other opportunity to be like so personal as you could be in the very beginning of your journey. Yeah,
that's a good point. Plus also you don't get the excuse to fall back on that, look, there's only me.
Exactly. Right.
I'm trying really hard, but this is a free plugin and there's only me and I'm trying to do various, if there's a team of you. Yeah, I've never quite understood that. It is interesting.
Yeah. And also when it's just you, I think it's easier to say things that you want to say like directly than when you have a team that you have to stand for. And when you're saying something, for example, when you're giving a talk or you're interviewed or something, you need to think about the people in your team and like to maybe filter what you are saying. I don't know. Yeah. Because I can speak about like speed and what I think like very directly right now. There is no one I can put into the wrong position saying the thing that I think are right.
Yeah, you're not putting anybody else's job at risk, are you, if you say something,
right.
Politically incorrect or what have you. Here's a thing, right, that may not have occurred to you. I don't know. Probably it has. Don't tweet from the Twitter handle SpeedGuard.
I don't think I already have one.
Yeah, but if you've got it, stay with your Sabrina one, because at some point, forgive me, at some point, SpeedGuard won't be as important to you as it is now. You know, it might be 10 years down the road. It might be that, you know, somebody buys it from you or something. But if you've got like this big following of people on SpeedGuard, and you want to keep in touch with them, it all kind of becomes a bit weird that you are SpeedGuard, because I've got this from WP Builds. I don't have a big Twitter following. There's not many at all. It's a couple of hundred or something. And but it just suddenly occurred to me the other day, it'll be really sad if WP Build was to ever end, because I'd probably just lose touch with all those people, because it's very unlikely that I'm going to keep using WP Builds in 20 years, 30, whatever, you know. So just something you don't have to, you could ignore it.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Although
I don't want to think that it won't be important to me at some point, but it's life. It's absolutely happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, you'll retire one day, and you'll still want to keep in touch with all those people, and it'd be really weird that you're keeping in touch with people and you are SpeedGuard.
Right. Oh yeah. That's girl that is SpeedGuard.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's just a thought. Right. Sorry. Again, an aside. Go for it.
No, that's all right. I enjoyed the conversation. Yeah. So what we're talking about today, about pricing model, and about making a free plugin to promote your premium plugin, or going without free version at all. So that's what I was thinking about. So my plugin, SpeedGuard, has a free version only for now, and my idea is to grow this free version to some decent numbers, and then work on the premium version and decide on premium features. While A/B split test doesn't have a free version. That's interesting to talk about this, isn't it?
Yeah. So I guess the theory of yours is that you've decided to grow the audience on the free version, and so many people have followed that model and done it really well, haven't they? You know, they've managed to put something out there. The biggest example that comes to mind, and when I say the biggest, I mean just the number of installs that comes to mind most recently, would be something like Elementor, which has just phenomenally millions of people using it on the free version, because they decided at the beginning that was a great way to gather up their audience. And then obviously, like you are thinking about, you have some features tucked away, like the display that Heinrich wants to show to his clients, that are going to be visible only to people who pay you a subscription, say. I just think that's a great model. The only thing that me and Tom thought, I think, was that if the plugin kind of does one thing, and it's intended only to do one thing, which really this A/B split test is. I mean, it does it in a variety of ways. You know, there's a couple of little features, but basically it does split testing. And there's not really too many ways that you can add it on top of it. You know, it just, when you install the plugin, if the plugin's installed and you switch it on, it allows you to do split testing. There isn't really other things that were built into it, or even considered to be built into it, that would give it extra features. It's just pretty binary. It works or it's off. So there wasn't really a model to scaffold onto. Whereas I think with yours, Heinrich, perfect point in case he wants to demonstrate something to people, you could scaffold that up, and why not? It's a great way to get an audience. I guess the only concern would be is that you build it, and you've got so much stuff in the free version that it's very hard to justify the subscription bit, because what you've got in the free version is already enough. You know, I don't need my clients to see it. The free version's fine. And if you can live with that and it works for you, then that's great.
Exactly. You know what's the worst things thing ever when they take like some functionality from free version when they release the premium one. It's like the worst thing ever, I think.
Yeah, and we've all been there, right? We've all had that happen to us, and something which you've really relying upon has gone away, and you've had to either pay the money, which is usually what I do in the end, or just find an alternative. And I suppose that's another thing as well is maybe you open yourself up to other people, dare I say it, borrowing your code and adapting it and so on, because that's all in the free version and that's totally legit. Mind you, I suppose it's all totally legit in the under the GPL license, even if it's the paid version. But you sort of get my point. But yeah, features and coming up with all of that and trying to get people to jump onto the paid version if you've provided loads of value in order to get your audience. So that's a difficult decision. Yeah. How much free stuff do you give away to grow?
Yeah.
And then at what point do you say, okay, that's enough free stuff now?
Yeah.
Let's go to the paid bit. Oh dear, difficult.
Yeah, I think it's heavily like it should be heavily based on the canvas, lean canvas. Do you remember the one that we on understanding your customers and customer personas? Yeah, because for example, like some plugins that will do just one thing, just as you mentioned. For some other plugins that do just one thing, for example, maybe maintenance mode thing. Yeah. Premium model can be all right as well. For example, like we are under maintenance, but to switch, and it's included into free version, like default template, right? But to switch for some custom template or add your logo or something, this can be premium feature, right?
Lee Jackson there saying Hi. It's hard to know. Sorry, Lee. Hi. It's hard to know where the line is on freemium. I think that's really tricky because if something is free and it does, let's say, 80% of everything that you want, does that little 20% that's not what you want, or basically it's good enough, right? It's just good enough. Are you going to take the leap and go for the next thing, or does the paid version need to be significantly better? And what I mean by that is, if it does 50%, then that's a different ball game altogether. If you're going to pay for something and it's dramatically better, it really offers value. And like you said earlier, the whole lean canvas thing, the thing we did right at the beginning of this series, figure out who your ideal customers are and what have you. If you figured out who they are and what it is that they're prepared to pay for, and you build only the stuff that's free into the free version, and you make sure that the paid stuff that people really, really want, and it's worth money, actually worth money, then that's good. Yeah.
But what's interesting, that it can be worth a lot of money for one customer segment, right, and it can be absolutely useless for other customer segments at all.
Do you know what? That always surprises me with software, not just plugins, but software in general, because I'll go to a website and I'll look at the pricing plan and my jaw will drop. I'll think, there's no way I'm going to pay $299 or $99 a month. What possible use have I got for that? And then you maybe meet somebody a couple of days later who'll be like, but that's the best money I ever spent. My business just totally relies on that thing. It's completely crucial. An example would be, I don't know, something like Airtable. There was no way that I thought Airtable was any good. I just thought I'll just use Google.
What Airtable is?
Oh, okay. Airtable's like, imagine Google Sheets, and then just pile in a load of like magic. That's what Airtable is. That's a terrible description, but it's like a spreadsheet that can be viewed as a Kanban board, that can be viewed as a calendar. Basically, it's a database sort of abstraction tool. And I remember looking at it and thinking, it's Google Sheets. That's all I need. I'll just use Google Sheets. It's free. And then somebody showed me what Airtable can do, and I was like, oh, I have to have it. And it's really, really good. Anyway, the point of that was that I went from no way is that worth any money to me to yes, it is. And and a whole bunch of tools. Like I spend a fair bit of money on translation software for the podcast so that I can put a transcript in so that people can read the podcast. Totally worthless to somebody who's not got a need for it.
Yeah.
But figuring out who they are and working out who they are and getting to them, very important.
Yeah. And also getting, like, we were figuring out, we were trying to figure out.
Airtable is good luck.
You see?
It is that good. It is. Yeah. When we finish this, Sabrina, go to Airtable, set an account up, and play. And I swear you won't come up for air for like 4 days.
All right. So you don't want to hear from me for the 4 days?
No. You get the point. Yeah. Let me just carry on with the comments because it's quite nice. Lee, I tend to purchase a plugin pro version even if I don't use the features. Oh, that's nice. Mainly because I feel like paying and helping out the author. Well, that really is philanthropic and very commendable. I'd hate the plugin to disappear overnight due to it disappearing. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do that. I am less generous than you, I would suspect, Lee, in that I don't do it very often. But there are a few plugins that I'm simply not using. But I have almost like a relationship with the author. And I don't mean a relationship like I know them or speak to them. I just mean I feel that they've gone over and above or something. At some point in the past, they've demonstrated commitment to the cause, the WordPress cause. And I feel like it's almost like charitable status, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I don't mean that the way it came up. You understand what I mean. Let's have a look at this one. At what point would it be superfluous to have, say, more than three to have more than 3 options? Sorry, Alexander. Hello for starters.
Yeah,
thank you.
For the start, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. At what point would it be superfluous to have more than, say, 3 options, i.e., free or a freemium, than a so-called deluxe version? What do you think, Sabrina?
With word deluxe, I imagine instantly cocktails and swimming pool.
Okay, yeah. So I think in this case, deluxe just means like the best version. I don't know. There are some plugins where you switch on the. So as an example, just off the top of my head, GeneratePress, which is they've got a free version of their theme, and you can buy a plugin, a pro add-on, and it just adds in a ton of great stuff. But the free version's great. But the paid version is like great plus, and there must be like 15 different things that suddenly become available. You can change this, you can change the way certain aspects of the theme work and so on. I don't know. I don't think there is a number, is there? I think there's just a perception, a change in value, a sort of a switch which flicks in your head, which says that's now gone from, that's all right, to, well, that's really good. But I don't know. I don't know if we can set a number on it.
Yeah, I think it's really easy for those who sell like something that can be counted. For example, like image optimization plugins. It's really easy to set like monthly volume or something, and you're done with your pricing, and there is nothing to test or discover. And it's becoming more tricky when you have something else and you have like few customer segments. Just now, when you, Nathan, were talking about GeneratePress, it occurred to me I never used it, and also I'm a backend WordPress developer originally, right? I've never bought a page builder or anything. I've never used one actually. I tried Beaver Builder because I was interviewing Robbie McCullough, and I've tried few else, but I never did a website for client with page build. I never did a website for client, like from the beginning till the end, like though I'm a WordPress backend developer, I'm doing just different stuff. So I'm not customer segment page builders will target on,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know.
And GeneratePress, it's like so cool, and,
yes.
And the paid version is just cool with plus. And for me, it means nothing. I have no idea what it means.
So I think an ideal place to be, right, would be that your free version was good in, like, I don't really wish to use the words good enough, right? Because enough implies it's not that good. But it was good to the point where people would actively seek it out, discuss it, talk about it, and be really interested in it just on the free version. But then there's stuff in there, like Heinrich said 20 minutes ago or so. There's information that you could somehow pull out of that plugin, things that you can do with it, extra features that are just going to save you time. And it's always about time and money, isn't it, really? Time and money, or making you money. If there are features...
saving or making.
Yeah. So in Heinrich's case, he could make money because he can upsell services and so on. I don't think there's a sweet spot. I don't think... I don't even know. And sometimes I feel that, like, for example, with Elementor, when that came out, I felt, boy, they're going to struggle to sell this because the pro version does quite a bit more than the free version, but the free version's good enough for everybody. You know, it does pretty much everything anybody could possibly want. But I was wrong. You know, they managed to put a whole ton more in and give it extra value. Shall I have a look at some more of these comments? There's got a few more. We don't know who you are. If you wish to be not anonymous, you can click the StreamYard link in the Facebook description. I think the free version needs to do the basics of the idea. Yeah, okay. Then premium should be an abundance of additional features. I like that description, an abundance of additional features. So just like tons more. Okay. The idea is that you provide value, but not overwhelm the users with features on the basic.
Yeah.
And if they don't explore the features included in the free version, there's an even lower chance of them upgrading. That seems like really sensible advice. I like the abundance of additional features thing. Yeah. That was
some plugins, though they do their thing, they look just so scary with their interface and lots of settings. You just looking at it and you're thinking, all right, I have more pleasant thing to do than figure out how all this works. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know where the line lies, and certainly I've used free versions of plugins, and the extra bit that needs me to pay for it just doesn't seem like enough. And equally, I've had free plugins, and then I've bought the paid version, and the paid version is so much better that it just makes you think, well, I'd never not use the paid version from now on. And a good example would be GeneratePress in my case just there. That was something that was... Oh, it was Vito. Vito was the one who was saying that. We know Vito. Vito's got, like, the mother of all plugins. He's got WP Feedback, which just does like a billion things really well. So he's definitely knows what he's on about. Right. Thank you, Vito. And Lee was just saying, disappearing, being invested. Thank you, Lee. Yeah. Okay. Right. Where next?
Yeah. So the obvious positive side of having free version and paid version is that you can promote your premium version through your free version, right? And also that people can try what you are doing, and then if they love the free version, they can upgrade, right? But there are downsides too. For example, just yesterday you mentioned the thing about support in WordPress.org. So some plugins that are using premium model and they are hosting their free version on WordPress.org, they have their support tickets coming both like randomly. Some of premium version support tickets are coming into WordPress.org, and other users are asking about free version on their website support system, and this makes a little confusion, and it like puts burden on WordPress.org support volunteers and both on plugin support staff. So I was thinking there is a problem with when you're combining a free version and premium version, right?
I think okay, so here would be my thoughts on that, and I may be wrong in that people maybe are a bit more, let's use the word belligerent, than I am. I would have almost zero expectation. That's not quite true, but I would have a very low expectation of support from something that was free. In other words, if I installed free SpeedGuard and I discovered that it didn't achieve something that I wished it to achieve, I would have no expectation of you replying to me quickly, or necessarily replying to me at all. I would just be thinking, well, it's free. Maybe this person's actively developing it. Maybe it's just something they put out there for the benefit of the community. That would be my assumption. That let's hope that I get a reply about this. But the burden, the commercial relationship of having a plugin changes that entirely. I'm expecting support.
You mean when you have a free version and then paid? Okay, so people will expect the exact same level of support for the free version as they.
Well, yeah. So no, I don't think I explained it very well. If I've paid for a plugin, I'm fully expecting support.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I'm now expecting you to reply to me, whatever the conditions that we agreed when I signed up for your plugin, 2 days, 24 hours, whatever, I'm fully expecting that to happen. And I'm going to become nasty Nathan if that's rubbish, isn't it? If I don't get that support, and that's part of it. So I think support is a huge thing. And so if you step into the bounds of paid, you've got to take support probably as one of the most serious things. Maybe it's new features up there or cleaning up the code or whatever, but I would imagine support suddenly is your number one thing.
Yeah, and I would imagine support for your free product when you have a paid version will become another thing too, because not all people like you understand that there is a free version that you paid nothing, and you obviously should have the level expectation according to what you've paid.
Yes, quite. Yes.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't get that. I've seen lots of comments on WordPress.org that something like, "Don't buy this plugin. It's absolutely useless. It's free, all right?"
Yeah.
What do you mean by "don't buy it"?
Yeah.
Oh, it broke my heart, not heart. It broke my website. I won't buy it again or something. And it's a free plugin. It has no premium version. So sometimes people confuse few things, especially when plugin doesn't have a specific name, but it has a functionality in their name.
Yes. One of the things what you were alluding to earlier was that in the news that I did yesterday, there was a piece in there on WP Tavern about how the volunteer support team for WordPress they're trying to figure out some guidelines for where the boundary lies. In other words, at what point do the support volunteers support things that have a free tier? Or at what point do they just push it straight back and say, look, just go to their own channels and so on? And so the difficulty for people like me, end users, which I guess you will need to think about when you do your support, your paid version, is how on earth, and I mean this sincerely, how on earth does an end user figure out which bits are covered under the pro version? In other words, maybe it's really obvious. Maybe that you've just added a new feature and it's utterly unavailable in the free version, and that bit is causing you a problem. Well, then you can figure it out pretty quickly. But how do you triage that? How do you say, okay, there's a problem with the plugin, something's not working, I've got, my website's broken, whatever. How does the end user know, well, I'll go to paid support, or if I'm on the free version, I just don't even know what that discussion looks like.
Yeah, it's tricky. And also, in terms of your reputation and the image of the plugin, free version can bring you some popularity, but also it can do something else, something quite opposite. If you have a lot of, especially if your plugin does something heavily functionable, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like not just a maintenance mode page or something, but something that has to be aligned with all the environment, with your hosting. Caching plugin.
Yeah.
Caching plugin can easily break your site, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I can imagine caching plugins having a lot of support requests on WordPress.org. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think you need a careful way of persuading your users which support channels to use, because in the same way that you want to service them correctly and do it right, you also don't really want to be dealing with all the what I'm trying to say is you want to be putting your is this even true? I don't know. Do you want to be putting your paid users above your free users in a support ticket queue? In other words, if you absolutely know that something is in the paid version and they're paying, do they get to go first? Do they skip the queue? I think that's fine. My personal thought is that if I've paid for something, I would like to jump over the support queue for the people who haven't paid.
Some plugins even have these in terms that you have privilege or you have faster support than all others.
Right, and you can even pay for different levels of that with certain things.
Oh, deluxe version.
Yeah. Oh, deluxe. Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's part of deluxe, right?
Yeah.
You get same day support,
yeah,
like, or live chat
support or something. Yeah, I know that maintenance agency do that. You can pay extra and you get someone to help you with your website, like in 2 hours.
Hosting, they do this a lot, don't they? That's one of the big things is you'll get chat support or whatever it might be, as opposed to email support and so on and so forth. So, yeah, difficult. Oh, you're going to get yourself into a right pickle here, aren't you? Deciding what to put in free and how you're going to support it.
Yeah, I was also thinking free version gives your users opportunity to try your product and then decide if they like it, they can upgrade. But this is like good side, like upside on one hand, but on other hand, it may not be a good side, For example, if your plugin is not supposed to be used constantly, like caching plugin, or like, I don't know, something that you use constantly, like a page builder, but it has some functionality, for example, like A/B split test, that can be just if you launch it, you use it, and then next time you will need it maybe in a month or something. I don't think having a free version that will let users to try it out, or for limited time, like a paid version for a limited time, will work in this case.
It does. It is an interesting question, because you were saying about having trying to get on board people and so on. The approach that we took was to have a free trial. So there is no free version, but there is a free trial, and you can do the whole thing, but you totally know that it's time bound and that it's going to run out at some point. But you can't use it on your own site. You can just trial what it does, how it behaves, what the features look like, how to use the UI, how to set it up. All of that's possible.
It's not like trial; it's more like demo.
It is. That's exactly it. It's a demo of it is not. You're right. Yeah, it is. I don't know why I said trial. It's a demo of the plugin on our hardware. It's on our hosting. But you can try everything out about it. That demo, you could install any theme you want. You could install any other plugin. It's a totally usable WordPress install. And then you can fully road test it. And if you like it at the end, you can let that expire and pay for it. And if not, then that's fine. That seems to me like quite a good way of doing it, because then you've got, and there's nothing to stop you coming back and doing many free trials. If you get 3 days in and you forget about it and it runs out, you just come back and do it all over again if you wish. Yeah, that just seems like a good way of doing it.
But making a trial, like a real trial for this type of functionality, doesn't make a lot of sense. I can see like people installing the plugin for trial for 7 days or something, making the A/B split test, and then just why would I pay? I already tested everything that I wanted, right?
Yeah. Well, quite exactly. Yeah, that's why it's on a demo. Yeah. Well spotted.
I can remember WP All imports and WP All exports. These plugins, you know them, right? Plugin imports and exports. Yeah. So they used to have demo sites as well. You can do everything, and you can test all the functionality there, export and import all sorts of information from WordPress, users, ACFs, everything. But you cannot try this with your own data. It was also like a demo website, which makes a lot of sense.
There's a different use case, isn't there? In our setup, it's perfectly okay. The scenario that we're allowing you to demo totally works. You don't really need to bring your own data. I guess the only thing you would never really get is real traffic, but you can fake the real traffic just by going there yourself and seeing the A/B split test in. You can see that if you open up an incognito window, and one time you'll get this version, and you open it up again, and oh look, I've got the other version, and you can click on it and check that it's working and so on. So fully functional. But if you've got data that needs to be pushed through it to check whether it's working, that's a bit more tricky, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking another good point for having a free version, though it means you will need to maintain and support both versions, is that you can communicate with your audience before you launch the premium version. You can ask them to leave their email if they're willing to, or you can communicate through the WordPress admin and ask them for the feedback, or some like in other ways. People will find the way to communicate with. I was already telling you, I'm so surprised in a good way that I'm receiving so many like comments on SpeedGuard, though it has like few active installs. But people are willing to share what they think about it and what should I do and what they would like to see there. And I'm thinking, if there were no free version, how would I have all those ideas? How would I know what people would like to see, So
yeah. I think that's a really good point. The barrier to testing out a free version is literally your ability to type. You type the name of the plugin in, it appears in your dashboard, and you press install and activate, and you're off to the races. Whereas in our case, we've got to persuade people to go through the demo. Now, we've made that as painless as possible. There's one field to fill out, and that's it. And then you click go, and you're off. You've got your demo, and it's all set up. But we've still got to do that, and then, if you haven't set up a demo like we have, you have to persuade people to open their wallet, which is even harder to get it in. So I think there's really great merit in having a free version. I think there's three things here. There's the free version, there's the demo, and then there's the paid version. And I think we've with the demo, we're kind of bridging the gap a little bit. Here's free, we don't have it. Here's paid, we have it. Here's the demo. You can fully experience the paid, but you're limited to time. It seems like a good way to do it. But it does, exactly as you said, mean that we don't really have any interaction with people who've got the free version going on, and they just want to see how it works. And it's not really that we don't really have that crowd.
I can see one upside of not having a free version, besides of the freedom from maintaining and supporting it. I can see the merit of not having a free version is that if you have premium version only, it sets your expectation and your attitude from the very beginning. While when you have a free version, like me, and you are just thinking about launching a premium version, you can keep thinking about this for ages, and even after you launch it, it's not like business. You make money somewhere else, and it sets your attitude.
Yeah. It is sad, but I'm going to have to, what we say in England is, I'm going to have to knock it on the head. I'm really
Right.
enjoying this discussion, but sadly, we're at 59 minutes past the hour, and at 00, I've got to go somewhere and collect somebody. So
Yeah, and I can see that we discussed everything that we had on our list for today.
we did better than we usually do in that case. That's well done.
Right.
Did you have a topic for next week in mind? I think you did.
Yeah, I was thinking about talking about description in as we started to talk about WordPress.org repo, about making a page in WordPress.org repo.
Maybe we could also throw in, as we're talking about the .org repo, we could throw in spam comments, because I don't know if you've noticed, some plugins are clearly quite good at faking their own number of installs. Just like 5-star reviewing themselves 1 billion times, and whether or not that's good for you.
I think we were mentioning this last time. Yeah.
Naughty. I saw an example of it today, which was even worse. It was just hundreds of clearly fake accounts set up one after another to give a 5-star review. No comments, just stars. And I don't know what that does. Anyway, thank you. That was a pleasure. That was a really nice chat. I enjoyed that a lot. Hopefully you did too.
Mine.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. Half of it's mine. and it was really nice. And thank you for all the many comments. That was very, very nice of you to comment. We'll be back here hopefully next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Unless we've got it out the calendar. But take it easy, everybody. Have a nice week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.